Could it be possible that today's United States is mirroring Mao Zedong's China in any way? Now, that's a provocative question. It not only nudges our curiosity, but also encourages us to delve into the depths of history and the complexities of the present. This question invites us to consider an array of complex and sensitive topics, each requiring a nuanced understanding of historical contexts and contemporary issues. As we navigate through these discussions, we must be mindful not to oversimplify or misinterpret the events of the past and present. Why? Because we're comparing two vastly different socio-political landscapes here. On one hand, we have Mao Zedong's China, characterized by its authoritarian regime and radical societal changes. On the other, we have the United States of today, a democratic society embroiled in its own set of challenges and transformations. Let's take a step back and think about this. We're drawing parallels between an authoritarian regime that made sweeping changes to align all aspects of society with communist principles, and a democratic society that's grappling with issues of racial injustice, policing, community safety, immigration, and societal change. The comparison in itself is intriguing, but it's also fraught with complexities. But here's the thing, while it's natural to draw parallels between historical and contemporary events, we must also recognize the fundamental differences between these two contexts. The United States, unlike Mao's China, is characterized by democratic governance, rule of law, and the protection of individual rights. These rights, which include the freedom of speech and assembly, allow for the expression of diverse viewpoints and the peaceful advocacy for change. So, as we venture into this exploration, let's remember to critically analyze these concerns while acknowledging the significant differences between the two contexts. The journey ahead promises to be an enlightening one, filled with insights, debates, and most importantly, a deeper understanding of the world we live in. Let's delve into this complex question, starting with a look at immigration and societal change. The United States, a nation built by immigrants, now faces a robust debate about immigration. This is a country that has been shaped and molded by the diverse cultures, talents, and innovations brought by waves of newcomers from every corner of the globe. They've come seeking better lives, driven by a myriad of factors like economic hardship, political instability, and violence in their home countries. Yet the narrative of immigration is often skewed, with the term replacement used in a misleading way. This contentious term fails to acknowledge the rich tapestry of experiences, cultures, and contributions that immigrants bring. It overlooks the fact that immigration is not a zero-sum game, but a dynamic process contributing to the nation's demographic, cultural, and economic evolution. Indeed, the United States has been and continues to be a melting pot, a place where diverse cultures and ideas converge and coalesce. This has given birth to a unique American identity, one that is continually evolving and being redefined. Immigrants have played and continue to play a critical role in this process, shaping societal norms, stimulating economic growth, and adding to the country's vibrant cultural mosaic. Of course, the immigration process should be managed responsibly. The United States, like any other country, has systems in place to regulate immigration, providing legal pathways for those seeking to make the country their new home. These systems are constantly being reviewed and reformed to better manage the flow of people and to address the challenges that arise. However, it's crucial to remember that at the heart of each immigration story is a human being, someone who, like generations of immigrants before them, is seeking to contribute positively to their new society. They bring with them their dreams, their skills, their cultures, and their hopes for a brighter future. Immigration is a significant aspect of the American story, shaping the country in countless ways. But as we delve deeper into the fabric of societal change, we also find other threads that are equally compelling. So let's turn our attention to another critical area of societal transformation: educational reforms and social movements. How do they compare and contrast with the narrative of immigration? Education is not just about learning facts, it's also about shaping minds and society. Now, if we cast our eyes back to Mao Zedong's China, we see educational reforms playing a pivotal role in aligning Chinese society with communist principles. The curriculum changes and student mobilization under Mao were part of a broader ideological campaign. These were not mere suggestions or guidelines, but rather extreme measures to ensure the populace conformed to the communist doctrine. Now let's look at modern-day United States. The discussions here about educational content and social justice movements are part of the democratic discourse. They are reflective of a society grappling with issues of racial injustice, policing, and community safety. The debates are not enforced, they are organic, springing from the heart of democratic processes where different viewpoints are expressed and negotiated. The comparison between the two situations is like comparing apples to oranges. Yes, both involve educational reforms and mobilization of students, but the contexts, intentions, and outcomes are vastly different. Mao's reforms were about enforcing a single ideology, often through extreme and coercive measures. In contrast, the US debates are about exploring diverse perspectives, about understanding the complexities of societal issues, and about making informed choices. They are reflective of a vibrant democracy, where the aim is not to impose a single view, but to foster an environment where different viewpoints can coexist and enrich the society. So, while educational reforms are instrumental in shaping society, they are shaped by the larger socio-political context. In Mao's China, that context was authoritarianism and the desire to enforce a single ideology. In the US, it's about democracy, diversity, and the ongoing quest for social justice. While educational reforms shape society, law enforcement also plays a significant role in societal change. But that's a topic we'll delve into in the next scene. For now, let's appreciate the complexities and nuances that educational reforms and social movements bring to our societies. Law enforcement is a cornerstone of societal order, but its role and methods are subjects of intense debate. In the United States today, we're witnessing a national conversation about justice, accountability, and the best ways to ensure public safety. This dialogue includes discourse on policing methods, the use of force, and the role of law enforcement in communities. Much of these debates stem from the recognition that law enforcement is not a one-size-fits-all institution. The challenges faced by law enforcement in urban areas are vastly different from those in rural communities. Additionally, societal factors such as racial dynamics, economic disparity, and community trust play significant roles in how law enforcement operates and is perceived. In the midst of these discussions, it's essential to understand the concept of martial law, a severe measure that has rarely been used in the United States. Martial law essentially replaces civil rule with military authority. It's usually invoked in extreme situations such as war or severe civil unrest, where normal law enforcement mechanisms are deemed inadequate. To draw a parallel, let's consider Mao Zedong's China. Martial law was used as a tool to suppress dissent and control the populace. This authoritarian approach starkly contrasts with the democratic processes and legal safeguards in place in the United States, where martial law is subject to strict legal and constitutional constraints. In fact, the use of martial law in the United States has been so rare that it's almost a historical footnote. The last significant instance occurred in 1941, when it was declared in Hawaii following the attack on Pearl Harbor. So, as we navigate the complex terrain of law enforcement debates, it's crucial that we remember the vast differences between these contexts. The democratic processes in the United States, while not perfect, provide avenues for discourse, negotiation, and reform. As we consider the role of law enforcement, we must also examine the cultural shifts and debates around free expression. In an era of digital communication, the battle lines of cultural shifts and free expression are constantly redrawn. Today, concerns about cancel culture and the changing norms of respect among younger generations are hot topics. These debates are not just about differing opinions, but they also touch on the broader societal debates about free speech, accountability, and evolving social norms. Cancel culture is often viewed as a form of social punishment, where individuals are effectively cancelled or ostracized for expressing unpopular or controversial views. The rise of social media has magnified this phenomenon, leading to widespread debates about its impact on free speech and civil discourse. Contrast this with Mao Zedong's China, where freedom of expression was severely restricted. Mao's authoritarian regime exercised strict control over all forms of communication. Dissenting voices were not just discouraged, but often brutally suppressed. The Cultural Revolution, which saw intellectuals and artists persecuted, is a chilling example of this. In the United States, despite the heated debates and disagreements, we see a vibrant, albeit contentious, democratic society that is constantly negotiating the balance between freedom of expression and the impact of that expression on others. This ongoing negotiation is a testament to the value that American society places on free speech, even as it grapples with the complexities of defining its boundaries in a rapidly changing world. Younger generations, growing up in this era of digital communication and cultural shifts, are at the forefront of these debates. They are challenging established norms, pushing for greater accountability and inclusivity, while also navigating the complexities of expressing their views in a world where every tweet or post can become a flashpoint. The difference between Mao's China and the current-day US is stark. While both societies have faced or are facing cultural shifts and debates over free expression, the context and the mechanisms for managing these shifts are fundamentally different. So, after examining these areas, what can we conclude about the comparison between Mao's China and current-day US? Drawing comparisons between distinct contexts can reveal insightful parallels, but also stark differences. As we've journeyed through this complex topic, let's take a moment to reflect and consolidate our insights. Firstly, we've seen how immigration and societal change continue to shape the United States, driven by a multitude of factors. The concept of replacement is a misleading frame for understanding this ongoing process. Rather, immigrants have long been part of the country's dynamic fabric, contributing to its demographic, cultural, and economic lifeblood. Turning to the realm of education and social movements, we've recognized that comparing Mao's curriculum changes and student mobilization to contemporary US discussions around educational content and social justice movements risks oversimplification. Mao's reforms were part of a broader push to align Chinese society with communist principles, often through extreme measures. In contrast, current US debates reflect a democratic discourse grappling with complex issues of racial injustice, policing, and community safety. The role of law enforcement and the concept of martial law have also been central to our conversation. We've acknowledged that the challenges facing US law enforcement and the debate around policing methods are part of a broader national dialogue about justice, accountability, and public safety. Invoking martial law is a severe measure, rarely used in the United States and subject to strict legal and constitutional constraints. We've also touched on cultural shifts and free expression, acknowledging concerns about cancel culture and respect among younger generations. These debates are part of a wider societal conversation around free speech, accountability, and changing social norms. But perhaps the most critical reflection is the fundamental differences between Mao Zedong's authoritarian regime and the democratic system in the United States. The US is characterized by democratic governance, rule of law, and the protection of individual rights, allowing for the expression of diverse viewpoints and peaceful advocacy for change. The comparison to martial law in China under Mao is a significant leap, given the democratic processes and legal safeguards in place in the United States. While there are certainly challenges and tensions within the United States, it is the democratic principles and institutions that distinguish it from Mao's China. History can often provide a mirror, reflecting our present circumstances in surprising ways. It's fascinating to juxtapose the socio-political landscapes of Mao Zedong's China and today's United States. But it's equally important to recognize the profound differences. It's essential to think critically about historical comparisons, not as an exact mirror, but rather as a complex prism, refracting our understanding of the present through multiple lenses. Our exploration of immigration, educational reforms, law enforcement, and cultural shifts has shown us that these are not black and white issues. They are intricate, multifaceted, and deeply intertwined with our societal fabric. So let's continue to question, to debate, and to learn. Let's delve deeper into the complexities of these discussions, respecting diverse viewpoints and seeking common ground. As we look to the future, let our understanding of the past guide us towards a more informed and nuanced perspective. After all, the beauty of history is not just in remembering it, but in understanding its echoes in our present.